Okay, welcome to the January 13th Seneca County IDA meeting. We have a quorum. Let's get started. Looks like the first item on the agenda is electing elected officers for 2026. The officers that were proposed are myself as the chair, Ralph Lott as the vice chair, Ben Guthrie as our treasurer, and Marie Weiss as our secretary. Would anyone like to make a motion to elect those people as officers for 2026?
Make a motion, we have a resolution or a motion for the complete slate.
Thank you. Any seconds? Second. Any discussion? We have a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have officers for 2026. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of December 9th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of December 9th?
So moved.
Second. Second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have approved minutes. Next item on the agenda is the financial statements through November. Brennan, over to you.
Good morning. Start off with the balance sheet as of November 2025. Our total checking balance was $2,923,000. Notes receivable current portion $35,791. Total current assets $2,958,911. Notes receivable long term $117,111. Fixed assets net, $256,928, and other assets, $121,834. Total assets measured, $3,454,784 at the end of November. That's a decrease of $66,321 between November and our October totals. On the liability side, net pension liability was $104,776. PIF deposits held $33,132. Total current liabilities $137,908. Due to other governments $70,392. Total equity $3,246,484. Total liabilities and equities $3,454,784. Again, a similar total of a decrease between October and November of $66,321. On the P&L side, total ordinary income in November was totaled $122,802. Ordinary expenses $469,923. Net ordinary loss, in this case, $347,121. There were no other items in other income or other expense. Bottom line, net loss for the period, again, is $347,121. That's an increase in loss of $65,366, which expenses and revenues that occurred in the month of November. On the ordinary income side, again, this is through November 2025. Agency fees $25,138. Seneca County totals $65,000. RFL income $4,580. Interest income $28,084. Total ordinary income again through November is $122,802. There was a modest increase between October and November, and total of $171. On the expense side, our payroll expense at the end of November to total $207,178. Benefits $116,161. Professional services $91,702. General office $5190. Administrative and tech $14,466. Insurance expense $3515. Miscellaneous expense $168. Travel and conferences $2,393. Repairs and maintenance, 22,462. Marketing and promotion, 5,178. Depreciation expense, 1,510. Total ordinary expenses, again through the end of November, measured 469,923. That's an increase of 65,537 for the month of November. Again, that's a review of the balance sheet and statement of operations.
Quick question on the professional service increase for the month of November.
So there was no actual change to our cash position. Last year when we had the architecture work done on this building, and thought that there might be a chance of doing a renovation, our bookkeeper and accountant had advised to put it on the balance sheet as an asset for a construction in progress.
Fixed asset.
When it was determined that we would not be moving forward with that project, just merely as sort of a bookkeeping cleanup thing,
Had a
it
reclass.
was, taken off of the balance sheet and moved to the P&L.
Okay.
But
And
the
that was-
actual payment was realized,
In the previous year.
in the previous year when it was actually paid.
It didn't affect cash.
Okay. Questions for Bob? Anyone? I'll accept a motion to approve the financial statements for November.
So moved.
For second. Any
Second.
discussion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Bob.
Welcome.
The IDA board member annual disclosure forms for 2026 are in your packet. Everyone needs to, I think you've seen these before. Just one particular one, is it, that needs to be signed?
They look like this with a cover sheet on the front. There are a couple of pages in here. The first is the annual financial disclosure, which has a signature on the bottom of it. And then the second one is the certification of no conflict of interest, which also requires a signature. So if you guys can fill those out and get those to Kelly.
Take a moment to do that. One sec. All right. Resolutions required for audit. Sarah, do you want to walk us through those?
Sure, so these are resolutions that we do every year in January. This is something that we need to have in place for our audit, but also it just sort of sets expectations for all of you as to who some of our, I would say, I guess, key staff or key consultants are, key institutions for the year. So the first is the designation of banking institutions. So this lays out the banks that the IDA can use. They include Chemung Canal Trust Company, M&T Bank, Savannah Bank, Community Bank, Five Star Bank, and Lions National Bank.
You need a voice vote on each of these.
We can approve them as a group. If you would like me to read through the whole packet and then have
Yep.
one motion.
One vote.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
The second resolution is designating the persons that are authorized to sign the agency's checks. This hasn't changed since the previous years. We've got the chairman, the vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, executive director, and chief financial officer.
Unknown caller.
Third resolution is our designation of legal and bond counsel. So we're proposing to keep the Helpin law firm as both legal and bond counsel. Fourth resolution in the packet is the designation of accountant and bookkeeper. So And this follows in line with the contracts that were approved at the end of this past year. So we have Eleanor Beatty as our bookkeeper and Dermody Burton Brown as our accountant. Resolution 5 is designation of auditor. Again, this was approved with a contract renewal at the end of last year, but this is to officially designate Raymond F. Wagner CPA, Division of Mengel Metzger Bar and Company as our auditor for 2026. Resolution 6 is to appoint the Chief Executive Officer, so that would be myself. Resolution 7 is to appoint the Chief Financial Officer, so to reappoint Bob Kernan as CFO. And that is it, so it's those 7 resolutions.
I'm gonna make a motion, we vote on these 7 resolutions as a block.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
All in favor of voting on them all at one time?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Kelly, you wanna give us the roll call?
Mr. Brownell,
Yes.
Ms. Capelli,
Yes.
Mr. Cure,
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray.
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Lot,
Yes.
Ms. Weiss.
Yes.
Mr. Guthrie absent, motion carried.
All right, moving right along, Jeff.
Yes, so the update from the Chamber of Commerce, our annual community dinner and award ceremony is next Thursday. Thank you, IDA, because I know the IDA will have a presence there. Thank you for that. We have really outstanding award winners that we're going to be honoring that night. So looking forward to seeing many of you there. This is the time at our office where we're undergoing efforts to put together our annual advocacy tasks for the year. So we'll soon have an executive budget to review, and that comes along with obviously policies for our business community. So we're doing that. Our public policy committee is taking a look at those. Local businesses continue to be featured on the radio. This is a really great segment. Hopefully you have heard some of those. Every single month we put local businesses in the spotlight on the radio, and it's the biggest radio shows, radio programs, stations in the local area. So we're really happy to continue to do that. Our National Civics Bee submissions, this is a really big task that we have started this year through our foundation. Those submissions are going to be in early February, and we're closing in on around 50 for this community. So really exciting there. Tourism, lots of work going on tourism right now. We're undergoing work for a new visitor guide, official visitor guide for the area, a new website, a new mobile app, and an electronic kiosk. So all 4 of those projects are kind of converging at once. Pretty chaotic. And then the last thing, I'll leave you on a little bit of an interesting one. We have a New York City-based production crew, film production crew. It's looking to make a feature film on the Finger Lakes area, and they have been scouting locations. They are actively looking for investors right now in it. It's a kind of a really interesting project, and anytime you have, your local community or the region on the big screen or in a movie, it does tend to generate some buzz. So looking forward to seeing what that project comes about. That's all I have.
Jeff,
Do you want to say anything about Berkeley Young?
Oh, thank you.
Consultant who is doing a tourism assessment of this region. You might say a
Thank
little
you.
bit about that.
How could I forget? Yes. There's so much else going on. Yes, that's another thing that we have invested in through our tourism program, our tourism fund. We've brought in a national consultant. His name is Berkeley from Young Strategies Group, based out of North Carolina. And what the task was for Berkeley is to take a holistic view of Seneca County tourism, the product for our visitor, and put together a strategic plan for tourism industry development. And so he has come out a couple times now in our community specifically. Over the summer, actually, Tom hosted them at Miranda Cheese, and we had a really interesting conversation. So we developed some feedback there. We took them throughout our community to meet with various industry leaders from the tourism market. And so he had the benefit of that knowledge. And then we had a survey, and I know I think all of you were on that list, and most of you probably completed it. So thank you for that. So we had a survey that was sent out for tourism industry leaders, and he came. We had a session last week at Del Lago. He came out and talked about the data that was collected, the information that was received, gave those in attendance where he was going in terms of what that information, what that feedback for him was. And then the next step in this is now we're going to start working collaboratively to put together a plan. And this is, again, a plan for sustainable growth for the tourism industry over the next 3 to 5 years in the short term and long term from that. But really exciting project. I think it ties really well into the county's strategic plan for housing. And I know this group, IDA, is looking at a strategic economic development updated plan as well. So I think all of these are tying together, and I think we're going to have a really dynamic plan moving forward that encompasses all of those areas. Did I sufficiently explain that, Bruce?
Yeah, this is a guy that came through Seneca County back in 1998.
Yep.
And he's got a background in hotel occupancy. I mean, he ran hotels, and he showed a lot of data from hotel occupancy, data aggregators that showed our hotel occupancy rates have never recovered following the COVID shutdown. And whether it's due to the proliferation of Airbnb accommodations or something else, we have not seen in that sector, at least in the hotel sector, any reason to build more hotels in this area. Which was, I mean, Tom's in the tourism business, I'm in the tourism business, we track his numbers, actually, our own. I mean, the numbers he showed for hotel occupancy, I think were fairly similar, at least from what we see as visitation to our establishments. The winery industry, at least from my perspective, isn't in terrible shape. There's a little bit of a shakeout going on. One of the things I did ask this guy, I mean, he does a lot of tourism consulting. I said, you were here in 1998. You're back here in 2025. What have you seen that's significantly different? Do you remember what he said?
I believe it was something along the lines of not much.
Correct. He said there really isn't a lot that's different here. I mean, I kind of put him on the spot because, that's why we hired him. And, he was kind of took him off guard a little bit, and he couldn't think of anything that was substantially different.
So is that a bad thing? Because if there's not something different here, what is there to attract people to come again? I mean, if somebody was here 10 years ago and there's nothing that's new now, why would they want to come back?
That was kind of his point, Ralph.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He said you need a refresh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a hotel that's been around for 25 years and hasn't gotten a facelift.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if anybody, it was a little sobering in that respect. I think the tourism industry in the southern part of the county actually is much healthier today than it was 20 years ago. There are more tourism destinations that are bigger and healthier today than there were 25 years ago. But if you're looking just at the 5 and 20 corridor, I mean,
We're not the same communities either.
what's that?
The communities along 5 and 20 are not the same as they were 30
25
years
years
ago.
ago. That's right.
Not at all.
Well,
not
but
even close.
Yes.
we've lost all the
Yes.
industry, or most of the industry that kept those families here and healthy.
Yeah.
So it was, it's all well and good to be looking forward and taking, doing the best you can going with a new plan, but he had a kind of sobering assessment right there, I thought. But,
Yes.
thank you for more power to the chamber for getting him on board. But I'd like to see him be as frank as he could be. I mean, what he talked about was shoulder seasons.
Mhm.
I mean, we don't need any more business between June and November, but what we do need is between January and May. And again, for the tourist sector, that's always been a challenge.
And that again, I think drives the point home that to the point that we need more of the outside of June through November visitation. What we have had different over the last is not significantly different. We've been good stewards, I think, was his language in terms of what we have. But if you want to really grow the tourism industry and the economic growth from it, we've got to rethink how we put together those experiences to accommodate those types of times a year. From maybe January through April, and after November, because the experience that we have is not conducive really to attracting visitors, visitor development. So, yeah, I thought it was pretty.
A little sobering.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
So I had a question when you're thinking about they're gonna do a video or a movie or something.
Movie.
Do we have any say in that? Because it'd be surely not nice to know that they put us in a good light. CBS didn't exactly do that for The Wonderful Life. We can't have bad things said about Seneca County. We need only good, positive things. So hopefully you'll have some input, Jeff. Or somebody will.
Yeah. If enough money is delivered into the project, I expect you would have some money. I've seen the preliminary script or the concept of it, and it certainly is using the wine industry as the backdrop here in the Finger Lakes, and really I think positions that in a good light and what this area is, but. I don't know that they're going to be taking any political overturns in the movie. I will tell you that, but it should be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff. Ernie.
Yeah, just kind of business as normal. And tonight we got appointments and some voting on different things tonight. Security for some of the town courts, and that type of thing. Get the new year rolling. That's all I have.
All right. David, business acquisition and retention activities.
Yes, we were a little slower than we would have liked to have been, I guess. Christmas holiday, I spent a couple weeks in Italy. Spoke to a few wineries down in the south of the county, as you mentioned. They're not reporting big numbers, but they are reporting an uptick. At least from the couple that I interviewed. So the people are spending more, but less people are coming in, and they are selling experience. You know all this, Bruce. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. But yeah, these folks might not. But yeah, I mean, it's you're selling the experience, as Jeff knows, and you just mentioned the experience in winter may need to change. I'm with you. I don't know if you have any ideas, but yeah. So we spoke with some transportation infrastructure folks, and it's here in the report: weather and input, volatility, cost, output, interest and efficiency, and equipment upgrades. There's some small equipment upgrades. Some people are doing some improvements, but not worthy of a pilot kind of thing. Really, I don't know if you all know this, but to be worthy of a pilot, it's got to be upwards of $500,000, $350,000, $500,000 to really even to justify the cost, the expense of it all, the lawyers and I think I've gone over this with y'all. There's more notes on the back. There's some key insights from my notes. Obviously, we have to keep them generalized, but As I said, the visitors have been down a little bit, but the profits have been okay, I think, in the wine industry down in the south of the county. Ag and food process, we got margin pressure from the weather impacts and things like that. I mean, it's anecdotal. I mean, don't take these as huge trends, right? I only visited 5 places, so it's anecdotal. Some people have shallow soil, some people have deeper soil, so the drought affects them more than others. There's other issues there, but workforce availability continues to be a challenge in the south of the county. Finding qualified people. I did have an interesting conversation about workforce training, not being in touch with relevant industries as far as is this any good for the wineries or for these craft beverage places or for the service industry as a whole? Like, some of these are just kind of blanket trainings that are kind of useless that they're having me send people to. And I made some contacts with workforce in the county already and planning on talking to them about that as well. They have a new executive director over at the WIB. Is it the WIB?
Workforce Investment.
Yeah,
Board.
so I'm going to be talking with them. I made a contact over there. I'm still working on, I've been working on trying to get a hold of county leadership. I would like to talk to them about the IDA, our role, and what they see our role as in the county, as well as trying to work with them and the different departments. I'd like to go around and talk to all of them, but I want to get a blessing first to do so and direction from county leadership. Mr. Brown, I'll send you an email maybe and loop you in on that. And that's about it. That's all I have, really. I mean, you can read this for yourselves if you'd like. VRNE outreach provided insights into evolving conditions across Seneca County's priority clusters, while businesses continue to navigate workforce challenges, cost pressures, and market shifts. Many remain engaged in planning for operational improvements and long-term sustainability, which is a generalized way of saying people are planning things. I think there's good things happening, at least in the south. In the north, I've had some interest too on sites. Sites are becoming available. Well, I'm optimistic, believe it or not.
Well, so other things happening in the wine. You mentioned the wine industry. So there was a bankruptcy about 3 months ago. Pleasant Valley Wine Company declared bankruptcy. The Doyle family, which has been a big sort of anchor player in the industry for a long time, they sold a 140-acre vineyard that's in Seneca County on 414. It's the Kaywood Vineyard. It was purchased by the Weiss family, Peter Weiss, who has connections to German winery families going back multiple generations. He has a vineyard and tasting room on Cuca Lake. Just made a very significant acquisition of a vineyard in the southern part of the county, which is
I think we're going to see a lot of that, actually. I think some of these vineyards are going to get, the smaller ones are going to start to get gobbled up, and you're going to have bigger ones, like Napa, over in California.
There is a little bit of turnover going on in the wine industry, but it's not the healthy vineyards that are getting purchased. It's the ones that are not so healthy.
Right.
A lot of the grape varieties, like hybrid and native grape varieties, are not selling the way they used to. Gallo, which bought Constellation Brands, is not necessarily interested in the same kinds of grapes that Constellation Brands were. So it was a tough year for people who don't have the right grapes, and you can't change that overnight. So there's going to be a little bit of turmoil, but the people who have the right grapes, that is higher quality European grape varieties, are going to be fine.
So is that something that the IDA could be involved in? If say somebody's got a 50-acre vineyard and they need to tear it out.
Yes.
They've got to replant grapes.
Yes.
And what are they, 6 years, 7 years
It's
before
probably
they're
4 to 5 years, Ralph.
So is that something we could help them with?
So in Ontario, Canada, the province there saw this same situation back in the mid-'80s, and the government, the provincial government, went to the farmers and said, look, if you will rip out these clearly no longer commercially viable vineyards, we'll give you bridge loans to carry you through, provided you plant a certain type of grapes. And I mean, that was their approach. I happen to, I mean, if you've got a public entity that wants to subsidize the grape industry in this area, there's a model of how they did it in Ontario. There's probably some things they might do differently, but could the IDA be involved in this? I don't know. I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean, the IDA might be able to facilitate something along those lines.
Right, because we're really in the tax business, we're not in the,
Not
in
in
the financial
no,
loaning,
not
because
in
that's something we need to
low
stay away
interest
from.
loan business, no.
Maybe it's something we could approach the county about, maybe the county would be interested in financing something, I don't know.
I think it's worth investigating. Because there's a lot of really good, viable vineyard property that's just, people are sitting on them with the wrong grapes, and it's really hard to tear all that out and wait 5 years for any cash flow. So it's worth keeping an eye on. Anything else, David?
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay. One thing that I noticed, ITT acquired a company called SPX Flow for $4.7 billion back last fall. In December, they announced that acquisition. It's SPX Flow is a leading provider of highly engineered equipment and process technologies for attractive end markets, including industrial, health, and nutrition. They say this will allow them to realize $80 million in savings over 3 years, in a 3-year window. I have no idea what a $4.7 billion acquisition means to a company like Gould's, but it's their parent company, and they're estimating there's an $80 million savings somewhere in their organization.
How do you read that?
I read it as that they're trying to centralize. I mean, I don't know their business well enough to know if this company in, I think it's Georgia, does much the same things that have been done here. But if they're identifying savings somewhere, that means they're gonna shut something down.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Not necessarily. Okay. Someone will know whether this will have an impact on what takes place here. But $4.7 billion is a lot of money.